Knowing the path. Walking the path. Staying on the path. Path to Sai.
Sairam, by the infinite grace, love, and compassion of Bhagavan Baba, it's indeed an honor, blessing to be here amongst all of you, especially for this retreat. It's always very nice to talk about Swami and very inspiring to keep on reminding of Swami's eternal teachings for our life. So this topic is a very important topic. Firstly, I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me and also the unique honor of sharing the same stage with other two eminent speakers. So the subject matter which I'm supposed to cover today is knowing the path. Okay, so knowing the path. And this, I think, is the first part. And then the second and the third, walking the path and then staying on the path will be covered by the other two speakers. So knowing the path is what path? How do we know this path? Which path should I take? So I thought a lot about this. And of course, we must understand that every time life is given us choices, which path should I take? I mean, which path? Is it the left path or the right path? Where does the right go to? So which one should I take? In all these confusions, we must have the clarity of the mind to understand where and what path should I take. And there are several questions also related to this, in the sense that what influences me to decide which path I should take, isn't it? I mean, if I want to take this path, I should know what is my influence. What influences me to take this path? Because based on the influence, then we will be able to study, understand, and then be convinced about the path that I'm taking. So this part of the question also we need to address. Then how do I know that the path that I have taken is the right one? This is another thing. I've taken this path. So how do I know this is the right one? How do I know I keep on doing things, but nothing seems to be happening in my life? Is this the right path? Lots of people have this kind of questions. So how do I know that the path I've taken is the right one? Okay, I've taken the spiritual path. Okay, finally, not material path, I take a spiritual path. But sometimes I still feel disconnected and full of doubts. Why is that? Why do I feel that? Even I'm walking along this path, I feel disconnected. How do I address that? And then how do I know that I've actually stopped walking? The fact is you're walking on this path, and sometimes you're doing things we feel it is a spiritual path. But how do we know it's a spiritual path? How do we know? How do we know that we're stopped? We may think we may be doing a spiritual thing as long as our mind justifies that. But how do we know that we actually walking the path? So these are some salient questions that, as I was preparing this presentation, came to my mind, and I thought that the best way, and this I think are the normal kind of questions that even devotees will ask. So I thought we try and explain this from Swami's teachings. The first one is, if you look at it, is which path should I take? Which path should I take? And this is a very important question to ask, especially at this point of time. Dear brothers and sisters, elders, respected elders, in the next 35 years, or 32 years, sorry, in the next 32 years, well, the world will experience and see things that they have never experienced in the last 1,000 years. That's the prediction. The world is changing, rapidly changing. And in this changing world, what path should I take? I mean, there's so many different options thrown at us. And we need to know, and our world is fast changing, faster than we are. Faster than we can change, the world is changing. It's actually a very frightening phenomena. And there's something called the VUCA storm. I'm not sure whether you know about this VUCA storm. The VUCA storm is an abbreviation for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. This is how the world is being. Literally, the carpets that we are standing on will be pulled out. And 45% of most jobs will not be available after 2045. So many things are changing. The way we think also will change. The way we look at certain things also will change. This is called the VUCA storm. And this is really shaking the economy of the country, shaking the world, shaking the way in which we look at. So a lot of changes are going to be seen. And so which path should I take? And then you are telling me to keep on sticking to the spiritual path. And how does retaining and keeping the spiritual mindset help in this VUCA, in this ambiguity, in this complexity, in this volatility? How does it help? I think this is a very important question to ask, especially at this point of time. So we need to determine the path, and whether Swami's teaching is still relevant or not. So we need to challenge the teachings and then examine it very carefully and see whether there's a logic in practicing the spirituality. In 2050, this is the world that they are talking about. 2050, the world will be vastly different from what we know as a result of the integration of a whole range of technology, including quantum computing, metaverse, augmented reality, nanotechnology, human brain computer interfaces, driverless technology, artificial intelligence, workplace automation, robotics. These are all the things that can happen in the next 20 years or so. By the time you reach 2050, this is look at the car, the design of the car, look at the place. Everything will change, the world will change. Now, it is important to understand that the dinosaurs could not adapt and adopt to the changes, and therefore they became extinct. So we need to adapt to the changes and adapt to the changes. But the secret of change is that if the winds of change sweep us or blow and we get carried away without a base, then we will lose ourselves. So this is where we need to discover what the path is. And what are we looking for? I mean, we're looking for wealth, we're looking for position, status, color, cars. These are Swami's words, the creed, health, trade. All these are the things that we look for. And when we look for all these things, and how can we look for the most important thing, which is the central part of soul and Atma and all that? Where do we have time for that? So this is the dilemma. And that is the most important dilemma, which is confusing and causing a lot of confusion. In a strange way, the world has also prepared us for this. That is why, right from very start, even our bhajans, if you see, we start with the Ganapati bhajan, isn't it? We start with Ganesha. Even when you go to a temple, we pray to Ganapati first. So Ganapati being the symbol of discriminative intelligence, because the trunk has got the unique capacity to pull in a dirty water, it can pull clean water and leave the dirt behind. So the trunk has got a natural capability to discriminate. So which means to say a spiritual person must have the ability to have strong discrimination that can sieve out what is really needed and then move towards higher aspects of life. But for that, we have to give time, we have to have patience, we have to make things happen. That is why walking the path is a decision that we must take. If you have already decided to be a medical student and then you go and sit in the engineering class, it will be of no use. Or if you are an engineering student and going to sit in the cooking classes, it also will be no use. You have to know what you really want and then dedicate your time and energy to acquire that. So you need, therefore, walking the path really means, or knowing the path you really means what you really want. What is what one really needs. This has to be established very clearly. Once we have that clarity, we have no more problems, you see. So this is a very important slide. Now, if you look at it, Swami said, this is what Swami said. So their species are born from eggs, and that's about 2.1 million species are born from the eggs, and that Swami said it's called Andaja. So Andaja, 2.1 million species are born from eggs. 2.1 million species. It's quite a lot of species, and there are turtle eggs, snake, and so on. So many other animals, reptiles, so many other things have the eggs. Then they have the Pindaja. Pindaja is where you are born from womb. From the womb, a child is born. So mammals, you were born alive. So this is called Pindaja group, and that also we have 2.1 million species. Then we have Udbija group, and this is another 2.1 million species, and this is related to plants, all kinds of plants, different types of plants, all growing, and there are 2.1 million species. And then this, of course, is in my field, Swedaja, which is the microorganisms, which are the fungi, the bacteria, the parasites, and all that. So these are all small microorganisms that are plenty, and that's also 2.1 million species. So altogether, 8.4 million species of creations that God has created. So we belong to the Pindaja group. And out of that Pindaja group, we are the crown of creation. So Bhagavan said, why we are crown of creation is because the animal kingdom can do everything that man can do. Man can do what we eat, meet, mate, breed, brood, and die. This is the same life cycle that even animals have. But there is one thing that the animal cannot do, is that they cannot realize the higher divine consciousness. That particular aspect is only in the human being that can actually do. So we belong to a very rare species, the crown of creation, only because we are literally the people who can are born, a very rare species. So Swami said, Jantunam Nara Janma Durlabham means very rare, very, very rare. Humans' birth is a very rare birth. Very, very rare birth, given the opportunity to realize the divine. We have to, if you're walking this path and this retreat, if it's ever going to make any sense, I think this one point is that you have to feel special. Every morning you have to feel really special. When you wake up in the morning, you feel that I'm so special. I'm born for a higher purpose. I have to realize this till before I die. So because that is what Swami is saying. So when we have that quality, or when that we have that attitude or that attribute, you find that a lot of unfolding will take place, a lot of blossoming will take place, and a lot of thinking will take place in that manner. But we are very busy people. You see, this rat, we tell the rat, oh rat, how silly you are. You just keep on running at the same spot. You're wasting your time. And guess what? Rat looks at us and say, you also the same, because we also from morning to night work. You see, we started January just now, this is already June. Very soon it'll be December, and then again we'll say Happy New Year. 100th year Swami's 100th birthday will pass, and then 105th, 110th, 100. Life is passing. Life is passing. Everything is passing. And when everything passes like that, Baba said, you have to keep on remembering what? Two things we have to remember. What is that? Death and God. Death and God. So Swami said, and that is what just now also in that discourse that Swami gave, also has this aspect of it. Baba said in Jnanavahini, those who are not contemplating upon what death is cannot become a jnani. In Jnanavahini, Baba said that. So two things to remember, this is what it is. When we are young, we feel we have the energy, we run around, we do all these things, but our body is getting old. Baba said in another discourse that the world is part of the curriculum in order for us to evolve. So this examination hall is given to us in order for us to improve, in order to make our improvement, create better versions of ourselves. So it is very, very critical. There was once in a session which I had in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, we had about 1,800, 2,000 people came for that national convention. So I came into the hall carrying a pot with me, a mud pot. I carried like that and walked in, and I spoke holding the pot like that. So I told everybody that you see this pot, look at this pot. Now, do you think my frame, 6 feet 3 inch frame, can get into the pot? And everybody said, this is not possible. I said, yes, it's not possible if I try to get into the pot now. But there will be one time when I can get into the pot. After death, the next day, 24 hours later, they'll come and collect the ashes, and the ashes will be put into this pot. Actually, it means that I'm very portable, I'm extremely portable, and I can take these ashes and then they will immerse it in the ocean. So there you are. Life will come and go. That's what Swami just said. It will come, everything will come and go. But the key point to understand this is that once we understand that this is what life is, everything, then you find a strange sense of detachment coming through. Once we have that sense of detachment, we can know what the path. So the path that we select must increasingly make us become more and more detached the world. That's right. So these type of statements that Baba has mentioned, death and God, are very powerful statements. That's why a funeral ground is a very motivational ground for us to be there, to see, to witness, to experience. The same thing, we are looking at to know, to see, and then to experience. The same thing must be also experienced in the funeral ground. And in the funeral ground, one day our body will be there. So one who understands this, the commitment will come inside. Otherwise, we'll find that we may be sporadically motivated, but not intrinsically motivated. And you'll find that everything, the passion will just die, everything will just go. So clearly, we must understand God has given us one chance to utilize the opportunity given by the organization, given by the Sai centers, to evolve ourselves so that we can move on. Because in this world, we have come for that purpose. Let me come to this point. So Swami said very clearly, this coming back to the VUCA principle, where oh, Suresh, we don't have time, we have to work, and from morning to night, we are doing this work, we are doing that work, night we don't have time. But Baba gave a beautiful example of the coconut tree. If Swami said, if you keep climbing the shadow, whenever the coconut tree is there, when the sun is there, you have the shadow coconut tree. So if you keep climbing the shadow coconut tree, which is the material coconut tree, your shadow, you will only get the shadow, and the shadow may not be real. Swami said, if you climb the real spiritual coconut tree, which is the real tree here, your shadow will also fall on the material coconut tree. The shadow will also fall. So as you keep on reaching out for the spiritual fruits, your material benefits also you will get. So this in the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, those who do work onto me, your entire yoga shema for this life and the next, I will take care. Krishna said that. Well, this is very powerful reassurance. So that means to say, when the world is now changing and when the whole thing is happening like that, we need to understand where do we hook up to? Where do we cling on to? What is the path that we should cling on to? I saw this movie called Twister, which is that cyclone, the hurricane that comes and hits sometimes in some cities in USA. So I went to watch that movie. In that movie, the twister comes like that, isn't it? So there's a group of people who will drive into the middle of the twister. And guess what? In the middle of the hurricane is peaceful. In the best place to be in a hurricane is right in the center. The center of the hurricane is peaceful. All the rest, you'll find houses are flying, trees are flying, cars are flying, everybody is worried, anxiety is there. But right in the middle is peace. So that's why the word called the eye of the hurricane. In the greatest chaotic situation, are we experiencing the eye of the hurricane? Which is the path that can take me to that eye of the hurricane to remain peaceful? So we should be in the frontiers of change, only anchored to our changeless self. So this is the tagline for a spiritualist. We should be in the frontiers of change by first anchoring ourselves in the changeless self. So the changeless self, whichever path that takes me to a changeless self where I can be rooted, I can be firm, I can be strong, then that path must be the right path for us to move forward. So second question that we ask is, what influences me to decide which path I should take? How do I know this is a spiritual path, this is material? What is it that prompts me to take a spiritual path? What influences me to take? And this is a very interesting thing. If you look at the forehead of a Saivite, this is Lord Shiva, but forehead of even a normal Saivite, they will place three vibhuti marks on the forehead. So if you look at the three vibhuti marks on the forehead, what does it mean? The three vibhuti marks that we must bring these three things into ashes. These are the three that literally binds us to the world and makes us feel that this is real. The world is real. Which one? Number one, we find that the most important thing is that to realize the first one is actually ego. So which one is ego? Ahamkar, or the ego. So ego is the first one that we need to destroy. And so ego is a very powerful element because it is the ego. So the path that I take in spirituality, or the path that I take, the knowing the path must lead me to lesser and lesser of my ego. So if I take a path that expands my ego, then that path literally will not give me happiness. The path that takes me to experience less and less of that ego, then I must make that ego into ashes. So what is a technique for me to become ego? You'll find that in the Lord Shiva's dance, Nataraja dance, you'll find that at the feet, you will see a demon. And the demon is not dead, the demon is still alive. And Nataraja is dancing. One leg is on the Nataraja. But the second finger, the finger of Lord Nataraja, is pointing to the other leg, the leg which is raised. And that's a very powerful symbol to say that ego, you have to be very careful. It can be very vigilant. You have to be very vigilant because the ego can actually override you. So when you're walking on this path, to become vigilant, to know which path is it, that knowing the path that takes you towards the divine, you must understand also where are the pitholes and where are the holes that can take us away from the path. That is another very big part. That's why knowing the path itself must tell you the terrain of the path. So you'll find that the ego is the snake that just lying there, and you will find that the pride and the ego all can come through. I can have it. Sometimes, international people, I'm invited as a speaker, I'm going there to speak. And if I have that false notion, then I've developed unnecessarily ego and I will get punished for that, isn't it? So to know that, oh Lord, you are the one who is the doer, you are the one who is all giving the ideas, you are the one who's doing. So to be constantly conscious of that is the sadhana that we must do. As bhajan singer, you sang very well, and then you continue to want to hear people tell you about it, then you will be fanning the ego. But to sing very well and dedicate that action, then you know, oh Lord, that is your song, your singing. So when you have that kind of attitude, then we reduce the mark of the ego to ashes. See, ahamkar is one. Second thing that you'll do is maya. The second white thing that you have is the ahamkara. Maya is illusion, and that is the illusion that makes you think that this is real. In fact, it's very interesting. You will find that although lots of people know lots of things, you find that at certain moments we lose the sense because it is so intrinsically clear. The discrimination really must become very sharp as we evolve to know what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, because Maya is like that. You'll have many ways the mind can justify a wrong action also. And then we tend to be trapped in this world. And then we lose ourselves and lose misery, lose confidence, lose everything in life. So having come as a human life, we need to walk the path and make sure the path, you are aware of the terrain of that path. The Maya is part of the terrain, ego is part of the terrain. And the third one of all these things can influence your karma. The third one is karma. So these three, Hamkar, Maya, Karma, the three things must be burned to ashes. So only when the karma is burned that we do not have to come back again. So karma burn, how do we do that? That is the orientation program that Bhagavan has given us through the Sai centers. When we go to Sai center, we are asked to, pray. We are asked to selflessly serve Swami, selflessly give time to. So when we selflessly give ourselves, and then what happens is that when we develop that selfless quality, then when we come back to work, we are slowly imbibing a selfless outlook. And then we find in our working place and everything else we have that kind of attitude. So that path that you're walking creates more and more peace and more happiness. Slowly what happens is that the mind becomes, the agitated mind will become very calm, and the path that you're taking towards you makes you more peaceful and more happy and more joyous. You start the ownership starts to come. While I'm talking like this, I remember one story when this guy came into the shop. It's a shop, you see. So he came into the shop and he's a very rich guy. This guy is a very rich guy. So he comes inside the shop and he sees in the corner, he sees a Chinese man wearing a cap sitting at the corner of the shop. So he said to everybody, he doesn't like this guy. He somehow or other, some past history, he doesn't like that guy. So you know what he said? He told everybody in the shop, call the waiter, give everybody a drink except that Chinese guy. So they gave everybody a drink, and the Chinese guy was not given the drink, and he was sitting and watching him. But the Chinese guy was absolutely not at all affected. He was very happy and very joyous. Then to irritate him further, he said, give everybody two sandwiches. So sandwiches were prepared. Everybody was given sandwiches except the Chinese guy. And he was still happy and joyous. He never felt insulted. He never felt humiliated. He was just happy. So this really irritated him. So he said, hey, I tell you what, why not you buy everybody one burger? Vegetarian burger, since we had this. So vegetarian burger. So everybody was given a vegetarian burger except the Chinese guy. And so the Chinese guy continued to be smiling, happy, joyous, and all that. So this guy went to the waiter and he said, listen, I've been trying to insult the Chinese guy like crazy. I have done this, I have done that. Why is it that the Chinese guy doesn't appear to be at all affected? Why? So the waiter said, sir, the Chinese guy is the owner of the shop. So when you're the owner of the shop, he's very happy. He's getting business. Once you own the shop, you are not humiliated, you're not insulted, you're not affected. You are just in a state of happiness and joy. In the same way, the teacher is trying to say that once we are knowing the path and you own the path, then you find that there is a state of being in which you're not at all insulted or humiliated or affected by the world. So this is the story of the three, where you can, the ashes, the forehead. I have these three statements that we must now connect. Okay. Now, my friends, this is MRT. This is LRT station, train station. Okay, so this train, when you travel, you can travel from here, right from the end there, get into the rail from the house. You come back, you travel, and go through and connect to another station, and then finally in the evening you come back home. You come back home. When you from home you came out, and then the train takes you back, and the train makes you home. This is a map of a MRT LRT train station in Singapore. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. But in life also, there is also this kind of path. You see, why we need, when we study about knowing the path, you need to know the mechanisms of it. So this is the red color path is what is called expansion of ego. So this is where the God spark starts. So the spark starts and the consciousness move into. Now the ego wants to know the world, wants to survive in the competitive world. So this whole, as it travels along, this part is called Pravarti Marga. So in Pravarti Marga, the ego gets expanded and expanded and expanded. So when the ego gets expanded, what happens? Oh, it's my, the I and the my becomes very strong. This is my world. This path of I take always increases the I, increases the my, distorts the perception, changes the paradigm. So they'll always be warmongers, always trying to find fault with others, always make small issues very big because they are in the Pravarti Marga. So then what happens at some point in their life, when they go through a bookshop or something, and then one book will fall, and then you pick up, hey, who is this? Sai Baba, Sathya Sai Baba. Oh, what is that? Okay, Sai Center. So some knowledge comes in, somebody invites us to Sai Center, and then slowly when we sit in that bhajan hall, we feel a little bit peaceful, we feel a little bit happy. Then somebody invites us to go to a service, then we start doing service. So what happens? The consciousness now goes to the blue side. We switch to the blue side, and this now is the expansion of consciousness. So the ego expands, finish, and this now comes in, consciousness starts to expand. So this is where the selflessness starts to expand. So this is called the Nivritti Marga. So obviously all the people here whom we are talking to in this particular discourse, or possibly all of us at different points in the Nivritti Marga returning back. There will be some shades and traces of the Pravritti aspect of it inside here also, which can cause problem. Our job is what? Is to make sure not only we transform, everybody else also transform. So our job, therefore, why do we wear white and white? What is the purpose of the Sai organization? What is the purpose of the Sai Center? The purpose of the Sai devotees is to help our own evolution, but at the same time trigger evolution in others. Now, this is a very interesting thing. Look at this. This is very nice. If you can watch this. And so the purpose of the Sathya Sai Baba movement, purpose of devotees, to inspire other people in their journeys to also discover their spark. So this is why we have to know that we are here for a bigger purpose. Our purpose is not just to transform ourselves. Our purpose is also to make sure that we help other people transform ourselves. So therefore, there are people who cannot get the spark because they are depressed, they're sad, they are, so they need help. So we are all in this path, reaching out, trying to help other people. Even a smile that we give to other people can change people's lives, they can look at life in a different way. So not only knowing this path is not at all, it's important, but as important as knowing the path is to help others also to know and recognize what the path is. So through our own life, we share example. This is done in Prema Vahini. Baba said, power, if you want power, the Swami said this, that beauty. But beauty you can have, but after some time beauty will go. Youth you can have, but youth will go. Money will have, money will go. Property you can have, property will go. Friends, when you have property and money, you'll have friends. But friends also will go. Knowledge you can have, but today's knowledge will become tomorrow's not so knowledgeable, because tomorrow's, today's newspaper is tomorrow's tissue paper. So knowledge changes as well. But most important, Swami said, the greatest power that every individual has is character. So the path that I know, I must take a path, I must know a path that tells me and leads me to developing a sterling character. That path I must take. And this is very, I just wanted to share with you that most first class students in this India, it seems apparently, I don't know, most first class students, become technical, become doctors and engineers. The second class pass and then they get the MBA. The third class pass and enter politics and become ministers. Last but not least, the failures. They join the underworld. But then all these people then come to the Swamijis, who then guides them in their lives. So finally, it is spirituality that is going to guide everybody. So this is just a humorous way to demonstrate the role and relevance of spirituality. So the whole point of this thing is that the body, the mind, the intellect, and we got a spirit. As long as we keep ourselves trapped in the body, mind, intellect, then this is where we'll get into be trapping. So this is the physical trapping, this is the mental trappings, emotional trappings, and these are the intellectual trappings. So when we get trapped in this world, then this is where we will get very limited. So what is the path? I must know a path that allows me to liberate myself from all these limitations and all these trappings of the body. If I don't get this outside, what will happen is that I will continue to be spiritual. In this jail, we may be living in the jail and have a bhajan, come back, but we're still in the jail. We'll continue living in the jail and being happy, but except we have one more activity, we go to the Sai Center, come back, do a little bit of seva, come back. But literally, if we have a way in which those activities that we do can help us to understand the inner significances of this and help us to open the jail doors of our life. And perhaps that's why Lord Krishna, when he was born in a jail. And when he was born in a jail, the jail door opened and Krishna came out. And when Lord Krishna came out of the jail, but most of us are still maybe caught inside the jail. And when we're in the jail, we get trapped and then we're limited. And then this is where the whole idea of the organization and the whole idea of having avatar as a guru is to blast our limitations and blast our limitations that post upon us and discover a higher divine potential in each one of us. So this is the real purpose of our birth. Next question is, how do I know that the path I've taken is the right one? How do I know this path? So this happened because knowing the path, we need to measure. Now, this is one funny way of measuring, how to weigh yourself to get the most accurate result. So this is not a good way of measuring because your weight will never change. So this, she doesn't, I think this is the wrong way of measuring, but we need to know how to measure. How do you measure? Measure means light. For example, we have a higher and higher self-confidence. Our lamp of light that is lit in our heart is very happy. We are so happy. We are so confident. We are so cheerful. Every moment of our life, we are happy. We get up in the morning itself, we are happy. Our face is happy. We are so cheerful. So we're happy. Not only our happiness become infectious. All members of the family also are happy. Our house is happy. There's light in the house. So we are expanding. The Swami said, my life is my message. Expansion is my life. The light is expanding, you see. So when I take a path, the path must lead me to the expansion of this light. Then from house light, then I become street light. That means in the society, I have a name in society. I have people recognize Swami by our own actions. Then it becomes moonlight. Moonlight means even from the moon, we are able to see the light, whole vast areas, community, the society, and even the nation. And finally, the sunlight. And finally, the sunlight internationally. So what happens? The light becomes bigger. Light becomes. We tend to be on the giving side of Nivritti Marga, making our life better and better like that. So therefore, if you look at this in a simple diagram, physical, mental, intellectual zone, this is Swami, and let's say Swami is this is the Atmic zone, okay? This is our Atma zone. If we keep ourselves always at the physical zone, then we cannot get. But if you do Chitta Shuddhi, keep on cleansing, keep on purifying our consciousness, then the mind will become lesser. We slowly go to the Atmic zone. Then working through the organization and reaching a higher level of consciousness, this higher level of consciousness shapes the attitude, which then influences the nobility in the actions, which will produce wonderful results. So the whole idea, if I take a path, if I know a path that I can bring good results, that means when I work in the office, when I work in wherever, I need to have results. I need to be productive. I need to be, at the same time, I should not lead a stress full life. I should be happy doing the work. So I have the best of both worlds. So when I live a life like that, then it is fantastic. That means I'm getting the best of everything else, as opposed to having a life only confined to just shuttling between office and house and living a monodimensional life without having the glimpse of, or even without experiencing this Atma. It seems like we have wasted the time, we wasted our opportunity. So what Swami is telling, even just now when he was talking, it's about giving ourselves that opportunity and grace to receive that blessing by getting involved, so that our results in life can be very, very good. Swami said this in a very nice way. Baba said, we have slid down into the present decline, mainly because we have lost faith in the Atma. This is the beginning of our fall. That's why we spend so much time looking at the Atma. What is it? Where is it? How to do it? For the loss of confidence in the Atma or self involves loss of faith in God. That's it. If we lose the faith, if we lose the fact that we have an Atma in us, that means we have lost faith in God. That is another fourth dimension that we have in our life. We have physical, mental, intellectual, knowing the path that links me to make me complete. That is why in WHO, you have physical, mental, physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual also. So WHO puts even spiritual inside there. So here Baba reminds us that we should not forget the Atma, and continues to make effort towards experiencing the Atma in our meditation, in our experience. And retreats like this are supposed to remind us of that Atma inside. So really, if you want to measure a true jnani, a true spiritualist, you know what will happen? As you keep on going life, what will happen? Your outlook will become more universal. So we now must assess now and see, is our outlook becoming more and more universal? Our path, if I know the path, this path must make me become more universal. Must become not compartmentalized, and not say my center should be better than that center. No, everybody should become happy. Even other centers in other countries should become happy. So our outlook becomes very, very universal and very truthful. That means we are always looking for truth, adhering to truth, and never moving away from truth. And knowledgeable. That means we always want to look at where we can get the best knowledge. What is this book? What Swami said? So we are very hard searching for knowledge. And infinite, that means possibilities. We'll never say, when we follow this path, we should never say, I cannot do, I don't have time, I'm not committed. So infinite means infinite passion we must have, enthusiasm we must have, and experience peace and bliss all the time. Every moment of our life, we should be experiencing bliss. Cultivation of sincerity, there's more sincerity in us. When we look at ourselves also, we feel very sincere. And consistency. There are some people, elderly people, very, very admirable quality. Every week, they're always there. So many years, they're always there. So it's very, very admirable that they have so much of consistency in their life to do that, all the Swami's work. Mental equipoise, everything also, there's some calmness in them, the ability to, even in the most dire situation also, they are always very peaceful and calm and detached. You have the more and more spiritual, the more and more this path, knowing the path must take you towards looking at detachment. So there's no biasness in the way you look at it. And therefore, only when you have such a detachment can you be a radiator of peace. You'll find more and more peace that you'll be radiating. You'll find that you'll be able to endure pain. Yes, endurance means perseverance. You will not shy away from enduring pain. You'll be very loving. Your essence of education is concentration. Concentration will start developing, and you'll always forgive people. So these are the qualities that can be developed, that we continue to measure. So as we walk along the spiritual path, this walking the path must take us to these qualities. In Indonesia, we had a satsang for 3-4 years. Then the devotees there, what they did was they measured themselves, whether the anger has reduced, whether they are more punctual at work, or whether they are ability to interact with people. They started to really evaluate and take statistics of the improvement to demonstrate the effectiveness of the study circle in instilling these values and qualities. So measurable. And there Swami said, today people think that spirituality has no relation to mundane life and vice versa. This is a big mistake. True divinity is a combination of spirituality and social obligations. National unity and social harmony are founded upon spirituality. It is divine that links spirituality and social existence. You see, Swami is saying everything, that means there's no such thing as material life and spiritual life. Everything is spiritual. Everything, national harmony, that means the more and more spiritual we are, we should get really involved in things, really committed to the things, really wanting to look. So therefore, now perhaps this retreat can make us become aware. What is it that we are contributing? Okay, how can we now contribute even more? How can we be more engaged? So this is what the real spiritual is. Swami said this in there are 4 types of persons, and this is one discourse where Baba gave. Swami said, "This is mountain." You go to some people and say, "Hey, is there a mountain here?" Mountain. I have no time to come out of my office. I don't even know where the mountains are. Is there a mountain in my country? They will ask you this question. So such people, they say, are dead people. Swami said, these are like dead people. So to the dead people, you go, do you believe in God? I don't know. I mean, they are there and the temple is there, but I don't really go to, it's okay when we time. Religion is a good idea. Spirituality is a good idea, they'll say. So Swami said, this type of people are dead people. Those who are not born to the higher consciousness are considered among dead. Swami said, this is for Swami's, this exact Swami's words, 4 types of person, dead person. Then some people, when they become sick, they go to the mountain. And then for what? For fresh mountain air. So the mountain becomes just a need when you become sickly. So Swami said, even for God, it is like that. So what do you call it? Only when you're sick, you go to the temple, I mean, hospital, or when you seek a God when you're sick. Sick also refers like examination. You really need something, then you go to the temple. So God is only necessary when we are in real dire need. So this is the second type of people who depend on God for some things like this. Then comes the third type of people, they call it, Swami said, dull people. So dull people, Swami said, in his own words, these are words like eternal companion. Swami knows that God is there with them. God is there. What is there? But sporadically, I will get motivated. So sometimes this type of people will climb the mountain, by the way. They will climb the mountain, reach somewhere a quarter way, and then come back again. Next time when they get the inspiration, they'll do. So they're not committed, but they know God is there. It's nice, it's good. They're good. I mean, it's nice to be, and it's good to have God. The altar is there, bhajan is there. But Bhagavan said the 4th type of people are the healthy people. These are the people who not only know where the mountain is, not only know how to climb the mountain, but will climb right to the top and the peak. Right to the peak of the mountain. So when you climb right to the peak of the mountain, that's awareness. Why you ask that? Recently, we had a youth camp here, and then when we had the camp, I asked them this mountain. Tell me something that what is the most important things that you will have when you want to climb? So they said, I need a torchlight, I need a rope, I need all these utensils and everything else. They told me a whole lot of reasons. But what is the most important reason? What is the most important thing to climb a mountain? So we debated, and finally they came to the conclusion. Actually, you can have a mountain, but you need to know why you should climb this mountain. The why you should climb the mountain is what is the most powerful way to make sure that you're all the time motivated. Once you come to have why I should walk this path. Knowing the path is one thing, but you need to know the why you should walk this path. Once you know why you want to walk this path, you'll always walk in the path. Why is a very powerful why. That why keeps you there. What keeps you going on and making sure that you search for what is there, what to know, how to know, when to know. You will keep on pursuing this knowledge. So Baba said, reach for the top of the mountain. Go climb right till the high. When you height, then you'll see more things. When you see more things, you'll make what happens? More information will be there. What happens when you have more information? When you have more information, you will have better decision-making power. You will make better experiences will be gained, and therefore you will have more rewarding experiences. So when you climb higher, the higher, you'll be able to see things better. You'll be able to gather information which is higher, and that is the kind of experience. Most important thing you see in the Swamiji that is walking by, you see tears. Why? Like Swami, when he passes by, you see tears coming from our eyes. Why is that tears coming from? Bliss, so much of bliss comes up, so much. You don't know why you cry, but people cry because that bliss is so overwhelming that you cry. That experience of that bliss, we don't have it every day. How to get that bliss? How to get all the time to experience that bliss? That search for this bliss, continuous passion to get it, whatever said and done, like Shabri, always consistent, always on that path. You see, Shabri can move out, but she didn't move out. She was there until Sri Rama came and gave her that experience. So that is what it is. Now Swami said, if you're going for that mountain, then there's one more thing that you should know. Right at the top is like the top of the waves. You see, the waves are very, very high waves. This is called Ashanti. This is restlessness. Restlessness means waves go up and down, up and down. You'll have turbulences. I don't know why I cannot worry. I have headache. I have this. I have that. So much of problems. Ashanti. This is restlessness. Then what happened is Swami talked about Prasanthi, which is absolute peace. So I just equated that to lesser waves. We're very peaceful, beautiful sunlight. This is so nice, so peaceful. But even this, Swami said, we must go to the third stage, which is prakanti, which is bright spiritual illumination. So now you're really absorbed into the Atma. You really experience this, and not only that, you come right to the seabed, right at the bottom of the seabed. This is where you get Paramajodi, which is supreme divine radiance. So our job is to get to the supreme state, to the blissful state, to the happy state. When people are more of this nature, and our spiritual numbers of people, when we walk this path, walk towards this destination, there'll be more and more radiance coming from us, and then we have a greater chance to become extremely a powerful dynamo of radiating peace and love, especially at a time when everybody is trying to fight and quarrel and wars between countries and so on. We have got a role to play. That's why white and white, we are the ability to provide purity, but making sure that we change our Ashanti restlessness right up to supreme divine radiance. So just by calming our mind, we can go deeper and deeper into the deeper oceans. So Baba said in one discourse, I only mean that re-establishing Dharma, correcting the crookedness of the human mind, and guiding humanity back to Sanatana Dharma. So this path that I take now, as I'm walking towards this path, remember the whole idea is to measure, right? So I now must measure. Is my dharmic role, am I dharmically, am I doing things right? Am I actually, is my best good enough? Is the best that I'm doing good enough? So I must continue to search there. And I also have personally also have a lot of, when I look at keep on asking these questions, there are plenty of weaknesses that comes around, but there are lots of people to remind you of that, and that helps you to correct your own weaknesses. Correcting the crookedness of the human mind, I have to check the mind, and guiding, am I guiding? So when I do this looks like the term of reference. So Swami said, I've come here for this purpose: re-establish Dharma, correct the crookedness mind, and guide you mind. So now I just use this to see as whether am I doing this or not. Am I dharmic? Am I doing it enough? Is this the best enough? Am I correcting the crookedness of my own mind? Am I straightforward? Am I transparent? Am I clear? Is there clarity in what I do? And then am I helping others to also so when I continue to question these things, then I'm fulfilling what Swami has come to do. So like that, every part of it, as you walk the path, and if you keep on knowing the path, if you keep on knowing the path must lead you to measure to know whether this path is the path. And that is what that question is that is asked. Then that other question is, I have taken the spiritual path, but I sometimes feel disconnected and full of doubts. And the real reason for that to happen is because we know so much, but we do not realize, because we are so much into the knowing world, we are so much into the doing world, but we are seldom in the being world. So the being is the situation in which, for example, we know exercise is very good, right? All of us know that we exercise is very good, but does it mean that every day we are doing exercise? See, this is another question. So this is the being level, actually, to really live what you feel and sense. So in everything that we are doing, we should seriously check the logic of where are we at this point of time. It's something for us to ponder. So most of our time may be in the knowing level or the doing level, but really in the being level, how much? So how do we do it? Are we sincerely meditating? Do we take time to do that? And then this is another part of the part where we learn. So look at another devotee. One devotee worked and came to 90%. So in zone B, okay, he's now at 90%. So he has not reached 100, but he's reached 90. And he's there, 90%. Oh, I'm here, 15 years, devotee, I'm here, I've been here, I've come here. So they remain at the 90 level. Now here's another person, new guy who came inside. And this guy who came inside is an angry, restless person, but he wants to improve. So very shortly, he has, by his own effort, he has moved from 10% to 40%. He has moved up the level, 40% more, because he took a lot of effort. So question asked is now, where is Swami's grace falling now? Is it falling on the 90%, the guy who's standing on the 90%, or is it falling on the one who is moving from 10 to 40? So if you look at it, Baba himself gave the answer. Swami said, grace is proportional to effort. Grace is proportional to effort. So when grace is proportional to effort, the more effort I put, that's where it is. That's where the whole thing is. So now effort is what is necessary. And we very interesting enough, Swami said, and this, I like this line, very nice, it's very powerful line Swami Sathya Sai speaks. Implicit faith is a secret of spiritual success. The Lord loves not the devotee, but his devotion. So therefore, how much devotion we give, how much devotion we share, how much devotion we give to this path that we have chosen, and know that this path is taking us this direction. That path, we keep on doing it and take effort, we get grace. Swami spoke about the grace. It's not like the wind. You see, like the boat, the sailboat is kept, but the wind of grace always moves if the sail is unfurled and kept. But if the sail is folded and kept inside, the wind will not have any effect on the sail. So the real thing is, real sadhana is, if you want to walk this path, knowing the path, if you really want to know the path, then the path must take us, it must increasingly give us higher and higher potential by unfurling unfurling the sail, so that we can continue to walk and walk through. So the Lord's grace is like rain, pure water falling everywhere, but its taste gets changed according to the soil through which it flows. So I must walk, I must know the path, I must know which path, and I must continue to understand by walking on by doing this path, I should measure. And when I keep on measuring the path, then I know this path is the right path. So I called on all those suffering the endless round of birth and death to worship the feet of the Guru. The Guru who was announcing himself, who had come again for taking upon himself to the burden of those who find refuge in him. That was the very first message of mine to humanity. Swami said that Manasa Bhajare, worship in the mind, 17th October in Sri Sathya Sai Speak, Swami said that. So the cycle going up and down, going up and down. How long should we continue this path? So I need a path where I know a path that I must take, which should redeem my life. I know a path that if I take this path, I should once and for all end the whole process. I should put a full stop, then a comma. But to put a full stop, I must stop at the fullness. And the only place you can have the fullness where you can stop is at the Purna. And who is the Purna? The Guru is the Purna. So I devote my time, I devote my energy, I devote everything to the Guru. You guide, you take. When I take a flight to USA, I don't go and check the pilot and ask him, do you have the pilot's license? How many hours have you flown? Who's your teacher and all that? I don't ask that question. I just go and sit at the back of the flight and then enjoy the flight and land wherever we land. And after 22 hours, we land in the airport. So the flight has gone higher than 20,000, 10,000, 15,000 feet. But we have the faith in the pilot. Like that, if you have taken the path, if the master has shown a path, this is the path, then we should know the path and walk on that path like that. So this is the path. So when Baba said, I don't need your flowers or garlands and fruits, things you can get for an anna or two. They're not genuinely yours. Give me something that is yours, something that is clean and fragrant with the perfume of virtue and innocence, and wash it in the tears of repentance. Very nice words where Baba said, this is the spiritual path. This is the path I want to take, where it inspires me to live every moment of my life serving you, wanting you. Because you know why, Bhagwan? When the time will come, everything will go. Yes, age is catching up, age is catching up. You find that slowly, the skin will get wrinkled, bones will get pain, old age will come in. Oh Lord, at the end, I only want you to take me. Why should I continue? I want you. I want this river to merge with you, the ocean. That feeling, that path, whatever that I'm walking this path, I know that this path must take me to that ocean. So for me to know that indication, I should have expressions of that, which is experiencing all those qualities that I just spoke about the jnani. In order to do that, there are three things we have to cut away. What we have to cut away? We have to cut the belief away. We have to cut the perception away. We have to cut the barriers away. If you cut all these three things away, the path as I walk along this path, the path that takes me to change my belief, the path that takes me to change my perception. I don't want my old perception. I want something new. And I want to change, I want to limit the barrier. So find out what is my barrier and break it away. So I find all these things, the balloon will rise up. But the balloon is not rising up because all these three things are now tying down, isn't it? If it ties me down, how will I fly? So therefore, the teacher I must walk a path that teaches me how I can reach there, how I can achieve my success. I'll at the same time help others in the process. That path that gives me peace, bliss, and happiness to change all these things, then that path is the path. That path is the path that is real. Once I'm real, once I know this path, thing should change me, and I'm convinced. So any other people can come and tell me 100 things, or I don't change this path. This is the path, and that path, I know this path, and I just stay on this path and just keep on walking on the path. So that is the experience of knowing the path, dear friends. It's about, you have to be very serious, because a master, bachelor's of science, master's in science, PhD in science, but spirituality is the highest subject. So that subject should not be trivialized. It should be really sanctified. It should really be very, very sacred to us. And the devotion and the dedication we spend in for this particular program will enable us not just to redeem our life, but to redeem so many people, our family's life. There was someone who told me, who left Puttaparthi and went to this master, new master, another master, and fell on the feet. I want to come and join you. So he said, why you are coming and joining me? Where you came from? Swami's place. Oh my goodness, you come from Avatar's place. He said, if you serve me, you may get the punya. But if you serve the master, if you serve the avatar, you got father, grandfather, great-grandfather, son, grandson, and great-grandson. 7 generations, the punya is going to be got. So why are you coming here? So like that, if that is the merit, and that is the inspiration, and that is the benefit, and that is the extreme love that is been bestowed, then why do we need to forsake this? This is the path that we should take. This is the path that we should keep. And this is the path that must continue us to be inspired. So dear friends, that is where I want to stop. And I want to thank you for this opportunity and let you know that this is, see, I've got many things, but I don't want to talk about all the rest, though I've got other things. Okay. See, Swami said, this is the last slide. I feel the exhaustion only when you do not practice what I tell you. If you're determined to act according to my advice, I shall be with you all the 24 hours. Now I ask you to ruminate like the cow on the precious words you have heard and assimilate them into your life. Swami said this in a training. So like that, if I only get exhausted when you don't practice what I'm. So all these words, the other speakers also will say, pick up some of these words and then see how we can make this into a reality and create better versions of ourselves. Thank you so much. Saira.